Hello, dear viewers. Today we'll talk about something different. It's not about a series or an interview. Today we'll speak of loneliness, love, and absence in the life of one of the most admired actors today, Yaman. Although we always see him surrounded by cameras, international contracts, and applause, the truth is that Can is going through one of the loneliest periods of his life. His eyes have changed. There's a shadow that wasn't there before. There's a shadow that wasn't there before. And everything seems to revolve around a woman. She wasn't famous. She wasn't an actress. She never gave interviews or appeared in magazines. But her presence changed everything in Can's heart. She gave him what the world couldn't: peace, truth, simplicity. She spoke plainly. She listened without motive. She looked at him without expecting anything in return. And that, for someone constantly under the spotlight, meant everything. But that peace eventually turned into pain. One day she disappeared. No scandal, no explanation. Since then, something inside him broke. He hasn't been the same. He became more private, more introspective, quieter. Rumors quickly surfaced. Depression? Disillusionment with his career? But the truth was much more intimate. It wasn't about losing love, but about having truly experienced it. Because she wasn't just a passing romance, she was his deepest connection. And when she left, she took with her his laughter, his calm, his reflection. Since then, Can hasn't looked for replacements. He walks alone now. He's grown comfortable with silence. Not because he doesn't feel, but because no one has filled that void. That woman, whose name remains unknown, is etched into his mannerisms, the song he keeps playing, the photo he never shows, the gaze that drifts away. Many don't understand this story, but those who observe closely notice it. His acting now carries a different tone. More human. More real. Because only those who've truly loved can understand what it means to lose without drama. And Can understood it. In a world where everyone screams online, he chose silence. Not out of fear, but out of respect. For what he lived, for what he felt, for what is no longer there. She meanwhile remains a mystery. She never spoke, never sought attention. Perhaps she remembers too. Perhaps, like him, she learned to love in silence. And so Can keeps walking. Not lost, but changed. With every step he carries her memory. Maybe life will reunite them someday. Or maybe not. But one thing is certain, she changed him forever. Demet Özdemir is undoubtedly one of the most talked about figures in Turkish entertainment. Not just for her evident talent, but also for the constant debate surrounding her public image. Although her career has seen success, it's now clouded by controversies, rumors, and interpretations that often have little to do with her acting. What's striking is how her name is still frequently linked to Can Yaman. Even though their paths diverged long ago, the media and the internet seem determined to keep that story alive. And in many cases, this forced connection seems more about visibility than emotional reality. It's fair to ask whether this exposure is something Demet encourages or simply allows. Some argue that certain outlets are incentivized to talk about her, exaggerating events or creating false narratives just to keep her in the spotlight. It's not uncommon to see old photos resurface as if current, small achievements presented as milestones, or imagined love stories turned into viral headlines. I'm not denying her intelligence or charisma. On the contrary, I believe Demet has navigated the harsh media landscape cleverly. Yet so much strategy can dilute authenticity. That genuine connection with the public, the one that once fueled her rise, seems lost among so many calculated moves. And that ultimately works against her. Because today's audience, when they feel manipulated, walks away. We no longer live in a time when a pretty cover or a romantic story was enough to win hearts. People want truth, consistency, depth. That's why more voices express disappointment, fatigue, even irritation. Not from lack of love, but from wanting to see Demet focused again on what really matters, her art. She has everything to succeed without PR stunts, talent, experience, charisma. But she must choose. Does she want to be remembered for her craft or for the noise surrounding her? Her legacy can be built on honesty and respect, without relying on old ties or surface-level drama. In the end, what remains is not immediate fame, but staying true to oneself. I hope Demet reconnects with her most authentic self, the one who won hearts with raw performances and magnetic presence. Because if she sets distractions aside, she can shine on her own. That's how I choose to see her, as a complete woman who doesn't need to lean on anyone else's name to matter, who can love and move on without losing herself. And if one day she chooses to share her heart again, it'll be on her terms, not because the public demands it. Demet Özdemir deserves respect, not for being perfect, but for being human. In a world that often tries to tear strong women down, that means everything. And what's most beautiful is that despite everything, her light hasn't faded. it has transformed. Because those with true soul always find a way to shine from within. And she, without a doubt, does. It's clear that she's one of the most complete artists of her generation, but beyond her career, I see an admirable woman who has preserved her essence despite media pressure. As one fan expressed, Demet is a phenomenon unique, and yes, she truly is. That's why she has admirers worldwide who recognize her authenticity and strength. In summary, while some insist on defining her by her past relationships or speculating about her private life, I prefer to see her for what she truly represents, an independent, strong, sensitive, and talented woman who keeps moving forward without losing herself. Her life is proof of how far someone can go when they stay true to themselves.